It was late afternoon in Silver Pines Estates. The mountain wind of West Virginia rustled through the pine trees, making the American flag flutter on the porch of house number 27. Marcus Hawkins, a 68-year-old Marine veteran, stood silently watching the sunset sink behind the hills he called home. After 4 decades of serving his country, all he wanted was peace, a quiet place to live out his remaining years. But since moving to Silver Pines, peace had never existed. In just 2 years, he received 15 violation letters from the HOA, the Homeowners Association. The reasons? Use of noisy equipment, unauthorized landscape modification, improper installation of community furniture. That community furniture was a wooden bench he'd built for the neighborhood kids, from recycled lumber and leftover paint. He only wanted to help. But to them, a black old man helping white children, it was something unacceptable. From the very first day he moved in, Marcus never realized silence from his neighbors could feel so cold. Women walking their dogs past his house without saying hello. Children were told, "Don't go near Mr. Hawkins' house." Even his first HOA meeting invitation was accidentally left undelivered for 3 weeks. When the first winter came, snow blanketed the private roads. Marcus, out of habit from his service years, shoveled the snow not just from his own driveway, but from the entire cul-de-sac. The next morning, he received a notice, unauthorized interference with HOA property. Unauthorized interference, he muttered, laughing bitterly. In a country he once shed blood for, he was now being punished for trying to keep people safe. Each letter, each knock on the door, each coded message, they were like small cuts, slicing away at his belief in decency. One day, he overheard a voice behind his fence whisper, "Guess he thinks this place is a military base." Marcus asked himself, when did doing the right thing become wrong? Every night, he'd open an old album, photos of his Marine unit in Afghanistan, faces of young men, black and white, who fought shoulder to shoulder. They never cared about color. And yet, here, on the very soil they fought to protect, he felt like a stranger. "Son, who do you fight for?" The voice of his old commander echoed in his memory. "For all Americans, sir." "Then never let anyone make you forget that." He looked at the flag on his porch and whispered, "I haven't forgotten, sir." But it seems, they have. Silver Pines Estates HOA was run by Richard and Karen Lowell, a white couple in their 50s with a reputation for being strict. They claimed to preserve property value, but their rules were vague and selectively enforced. Marcus was fined for leaving his trash bins out 10 minutes past the pickup window, while the white couple across the street left theirs out overnight without consequence. When he questioned the Lowells about an unreceipted special maintenance fee, he was cut off during a public meeting. "Mr. Hawkins, this is a private community with standards. If you don't like it here, you're welcome to move." After that meeting, things escalated fast. One morning, he found his American flag torn. The porch light was smashed. When he called the police, the white officer just shrugged. "No clear evidence, sir." A week later, another HOA letter arrived, unauthorized surveillance equipment. They were referring to the security camera Marcus had installed to protect himself. He realized he was fighting a different kind of war, one without bullets, but full of hate. That evening, he sat with his elderly neighbor, Mrs. Edith, the only person who still greeted him kindly. She whispered, "Marcus, I overheard them in the HOA meeting. They said you don't fit the image of this neighborhood." He froze. Don't fit? Because he was black? Or because he dared to help? Marcus decided to record every HOA meeting. He bought a tiny recording device hidden in a pen clipped to his shirt pocket. Every smirk, every fake smile, every "we need to keep this neighborhood safe," all captured on tape. One evening, his daughter Naomi came to visit from Atlanta. A lawyer herself, she listened to her father's story, tears in her eyes. "Dad, you fought for this country. And this is how they repay you." "Not everyone, sweetheart," he said softly. "But some people with power, they think that gives them the right to decide who belongs." Naomi promised to help. She began reviewing the HOA bylaws. She found multiple violations of the Fair Housing Act, which prohibits discrimination in housing. From then on, Marcus lived two lives. By day, he quietly tended his garden, mowed his lawn, and greeted those who ignored him. By night, he replayed the tapes, transcribing every racist remark. With each recording, the truth grew clearer. They didn't just want him gone, they wanted to erase the idea that a black man could belong in Silver Pines. When Naomi believed they had enough evidence, she submitted a formal complaint to the West Virginia Attorney General's office. A local news station picked up the story. A reporter asked Marcus, "Why do you think they targeted you?" He replied calmly, "Because I didn't bow my head. They're not used to seeing a black man stand tall." Weeks later, state investigators raided the HOA's office. They uncovered numerous unreported fees and internal emails laced with racial slurs. The headlines read, "West Virginia HOA accused of racial harassment against black veteran." Other residents, once silent, started speaking out. Mrs. Edith stood at a press conference and declared, "Mr. Hawkins is the best neighbor this community has ever had." Ultimately, Silver Pines Estates HOA was dissolved by state order. Richard and Karen Lowell were fined $250,000 and banned from operating any HOA for 10 years. A year later, Silver Pines was peaceful again. Children played on the wooden bench Marcus had built long ago. A new American flag waved proudly, this time installed by the new HOA board, as a public apology. Naomi visited her father one weekend and smiled when she saw him repainting the fence. "Dad, you know what they call this park now?" "What?" "The Hawkins Bench Park." He chuckled. "That's a good name. But remember, justice doesn't always win fast. But if you don't stay silent, it at least has a chance." The camera would slowly pull back, the old black veteran sitting quietly on his bench, with Duke the dog by his side. The wind whistled through the pines, carrying his final words. "I didn't fight to be loved. I fought to be respected." Screen fades to black. Based on true stories of racial discrimination in American HOAs.